hello. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica, and this is the Love Project, where we discuss all things love: the love of God, the love in family, the love in parent, the love in siblings relationship, the love in friendships, and all things in between. Thank you for joining me. Welcome back. Welcome back. I hope that you have made your decision, that you are here for 2024 season 2 of the Love Project. And I want to thank everyone who may be new to the channel. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Go ahead and ring that bell and join the Love Squad. So again, thank you for coming. Today, I believe we have a really good topic for you all. We will be discussing healthy relationships, right? So we're trying to figure out if we are in healthy relationships. And listen, this applies to every area of our life. So we're talking about relationships with your parents, relationships with your siblings, with your kids, with your friends, of course your marriage, if you're married, even in the dating process, right? Establishing grounds for healthy relationships, so on and so forth. So no relationship is exempt. We're going to keep it very generalized in the content, so that you again will be able to apply to multiple relationships in your life. Of course, the intention is to see how we are functioning in our relationships, to be sure that it's healthy. But in the same manner, we always want to keep in mind how we are extending that love to others that's in a relationship with us. Because like I always like to say here, sometimes we could be the villain in other people's stories. So you don't want to be on this high horse as if everything that has gone wrong, everything that's bad, everything that's this is everybody else's fault. We're not having a victim mentality, right? We are conquerors, and a part of being a conqueror is identifying what you do, how you do it, and why you do it, and combating that first, right? But also being able to kind of set the standard for yourself as to what you're going to accept, what you allow, and how you're going to operate. So that's what we're doing. So we pretty much going to establish grounds for what healthy relationships look like. Because I used to always assume that if you're in a relationship, right, you dating somebody and you never fuss, I used to think that was a good relationship. I had one relationship that I can't remember like one argument, because we never fuss. But I realized later, because hindsight is 2020, that the reason why we never had an argument in a relationship is because we were never having serious conversations. We were never addressing issues. It was just a lot of avoidance. It was a lot of sweeping things under the rug. It was a lot of covering things up with makeup, sex, and gifts and things like that. So it was one of those relationships which was, I would say, almost like low key toxic, right? So not just on top, obvious to the naked eye that, oh, this is a toxic relationship. It wasn't like that, and it didn't even feel toxic. But when you're not communicating, when you are not your full self with a person, when you like walking on eggshells, when you're not able to express something you desire, something you want, something you expect, then that is still a form of toxicity, because ultimately it's just not healthy. So I had to kind of recognize those things that I considered healthy that really wasn't. So a good thing to think about is, the details of a relationship, how that relationship is flowing, how it's going, how long you've been in this relationship, and what the relationship is built off. We always have to look at the foundation. So some key ways to kind of think about, like, if a relationship is healthy, is one, you always want to think about how it makes you feel, right? How it make you feel. Like, are you at peace when you're in this relationship? do you find safety? Do you have security in this relationship? How are you when you're around a person? Is this a person you enjoy being around? You love being with them when they call? What feeling you have before you even answer the call? Like all those different type of things you have to take in consideration, and it'll really tell you if those relationships is healthy. Peace is always a good sign. I remember my first lady from my previous church. She had told me something because I was pretty much like seeking God on something, and I felt like God wasn't answering me. I felt like He wasn't saying nothing, right? And she told me, she said, sometimes peace is a yes, and I was like, ooh, that's good. That is real good, because the thing about peace and quietness is two different things. Just because something is quiet, just because something um has your focus, just because you occupy, doesn't mean you have peace in it. And peace can't really be denied, because peace includes so many variables, and the main variable of peace is it is of God. Only God provide peace. Like literally, Jesus is the Prince of Peace. He is Jehovah Shalom. He is our peace. So when you have peace in something, that means God is in the midst of it, right? And so that is a great um resource or tool to kind of test if the relationship is healthy, and that it has great potential to grow. So another thing is, are you free to be yourself? Listen, this is one of the biggest things, because this ultimately made me realize that I needed to back off a guy that I was dating and really seek God to, pursue the opportunity to be married. Because and I've told this story many a times, I pretty much was dating this guy. We together like all the time, and we had fun, and it was a good relationship, and so on and so forth. And I really, I was enjoying it. But I had a friend come to visit me, and it was like when my friend came to visit, I just poured out. It's like I had so much stuff constrained on the inside of me, my personality, my thoughts, how I feel about God, and the season that I'm in, and all of this stuff. It just poured out, and we ended up talking for like 3 or 4 hours. And after the conversation, I just remember walking in the house, and I felt so free at that moment. And literally, the first thing I thought is, I got to end this relationship. Because how could I be with this person every day, all day, laughing, texting, talking, sending videos to each other, joking, and all of this stuff, and yet I could not be my full self with this person, right? That is crazy to me. But things like that take revelation. So that's something that you need to think about, that if you're able to be free to be yourself, and a part of that is your personality. You want to be your whole self. If you're goofy, you should be able to be goofy with them, right? I always think about, in the midst of dating, is a good way to find out if a person really who they say they is going to a family function, or going seeing them like around their family and their friends, because them people know them, like they know them, and you can't fake with them. So if you invite me and we around your friends gonna be like, oh, you ain't yourself, when you a little girl, you ain't yourself when you a little boy. So you get to see the real person. And if you could be free around your family, you should be able to be free in your relationship. You should be able to be free around your friends. You should be able to be you, whatever your quirks is, whatever you like, however you like the joke, your sense of humor. Like, they should be able to flow with that. It might not be for everybody, but with that person, it should be, it should be your thing. Like, I believe in a good inside joke. I literally have friends. Well, we just a tribe. Like, we laugh at the most random things. Man, my group with my family, My sisters and my mom, like, we be weak. We laugh at the most crazy stuff, and that's our thing, right? Then I have something with my husband that he come tell me, I tell him the craziest things, and we just have this, way we kind of just do our thing, and it's us. It's us, through and through. And so that is very important to be able to be free and express yourself. And again, this go across the board. I know people that even with their own parents, like their parents don't know them. Their parents don't know them, and that's so sad. So, when you think about that, even if you feel like, you got a good relationship with your parents, and you got a good relationship, with your friends and your siblings, when you think about it and you like, I can't be myself with this person, then there's some work that needs to be done. It might not be as healthy as you think. Um, and with the freedom of being yourself, are you free to express yourself? That is very, very important. Communication is key in every relationship. Even when you think about your relationship with God, like at the end of the day, we believe um, in a God we cannot see. So communication is absolutely necessary. That's why he gave us the Bible. He gave us the word of God. That's his way of communicating to us, communicating his love, communicating how he created us, why he created us, why he sent his son to die for us, because he want relationship with us, how much he love us, the length he willing to go for us, the things he will do for us, the things he promised to us, and so on and so forth. And then we have prayer. Prayer is what we get to communicate with God and tell him, how we feel, what we believe in for, what we're expecting, what we need, how we need him to show up, and so on and so forth. So communication is the key to any relationship. So you need to be able to express yourself. And I mean really express yourself. When you learn to start expressing yourself, then you'll learn what's the best ways to express depending on the person that you're dealing with. Because again, like we talked about in the beginning, it's not just about you. That person is on the receiving end. And so you have to communicate in a way that also works for them, in a way that they can receive, right? So you can learn that as you go, but the key is just being able to express yourself in those relationships. If your friend do something, about to do something they don't have no business, you should be able to say, baby, don't do that. I'm telling you, you go ahead and do this. This was going to happen, and don't come running back to me because I'm trying to warn you. You got to be able to tell your friends that. You need to be able to tell your partner that, the other night when you did so and so, I really didn't appreciate that. I didn't like the way it made me feel. I didn't like, how you handled that. I just would appreciate if you would take this in consideration, if you would do it like this, or so on and so forth. You need to be able to do that. Especially with your siblings. Listen, baby, my sisters, they be jumping out the group chat so much. I say, listen, y'all, just say what's on your mind. Just say what the problem. Ain't no need for you to leave the group chat and then I gotta put you back in 2 weeks. Like, don't do all that. Just say, address whoever said whatever, did whatever, or made you feel away. And the thing about it is, because there's a group, you get to see other people's point of view. You get to see, well, oh, I didn't see it like that, and I'm sorry you felt that way. And then you also get to compare. You get to say, well, when I said this to this person, they felt this way about it because they're more emotional. When I said it to this person, they didn't care nothing about it because they're not on that type of time. You really get to kind of see how different people are and how you have to move, right, and shake in a way that helps that person in that relationship. So those are good practices of just learning how to express yourself. And then of course you want to know that that person sees you. Listen, there is no reason to be in any relationship where a person do not see you. I believe in taking a break. I believe in falling back on people, if need be, when a person just don't see you, like they don't think about you, they don't consider you, they don't show you love, they don't show you affection, they don't affirm you, they don't pay you no attention, they don't know you, they haven't taken the time to really understand who you are and what you expect of them from the relationship. Like, those are things that is very, very important. And everybody want to be in a relationship where they are seen. There's this joke floating around on TikTok about older kids, middle kids, and the baby, right? And I'm sure everybody and their mama can relate to this because I make these same jokes with my mama. I'm like, oh, Naya your favorite. Naya is the baby, right? She your favorite. She your favorite, whatever. And so my mama, even before Naya was thought of, my mama used to always say, she'll be like, oh come on Erica, you my favorite or whatever. But it's like when she want me to do something, and then if Ashley, she want Ashley to do something, she'll be like, come on Ashley, don't tell Erica, but you my favorite. And we get that from, I believe it was the Jamie Foxx show. Yeah, I believe it was the Jamie Foxx show. But anyway, pretty much like they had this Mother Teresa type lady who kept telling everybody that they was her favorite. So that's like a running joke with my mama and us. So we always joke about how my baby sister is the favorite. Why? Because she don't have half of the chores we had. She don't have half of the disciplines we had. She just let that child do whatever. So of course we're gonna feel like that's her favorite. Then they will feel like I'm my mama favorite because I've always been the good child. Like I really never really gave my mama problems like that. So my siblings be like, "Oh, Erica, your favorite, cause you know you always talking good about Erica, and Erica didn't do this and whatever, whatever. Like she got me on this little pedestal or whatever." So they will feel like Erica her favorite, and then of course the boys, we be like, yeah, that's your favorite or whatever. You don't play about your sons or whatever, whatever. So then there's that, right? Then there's Sky. Sky, we call Sky the whiner. So she always get her way because she gonna whine, baby, until she get her way. So then we'll be like, yeah, Sky your favorite and whatever, whatever. And then of course Ashley, baby. Ashley and my mama is like two peas in the pie. You don't see one without seeing the other. So we be saying that that's her favorite. And Ashley look just like her. Out of all my mama kids, Ashley look just like her. So of course, we be messing with her. No, Ashley your favorite because you do everything for Ashley. And then on top of that, not only do you do it for Ashley, you do it for her children. Because of course, my sister's the only one that have kids. So that's my mama only grandkids. So that type of stuff or whatever, whatever. So, yeah. So that's like a thing too because in different times in different moments, my mama really make it evident that she sees us, right? She see her children individually, and how she love on us based on our personality, based on all these different things. So we do that in all our relationships. You might have a friend that is a friend of a friend. They be like, oh, that's your favorite friend right there. You feel like, oh, this is my favorite friend. This is my best friend right there. But, that's my friend, but that's my best friend, whatever, whatever. So you want to know that a person sees you, that they know your flaws, they know things about you that's not your best side, but they still love you, they still keep you in mind, they give you grace, so on and so forth. And so yeah, so we have to definitely make sure that our normal isn't toxic, right? Because we grow up a certain way, we can believe that something is healthy when it's not. For instance, like I'm talking about the joke about the favorite child, right? That's a real trauma for people. At the end of the day, like I say, my mama joke with us, and it's like a running joke in our family amongst our siblings. But if my mama really chose a child and chose that child as a favorite, we've heard the term black sheep and stuff like that. That can do a lot of damage. So if that was a real toxic trait of my mama and of our familyhood and stuff like that, this will be a different conversation. So you have to be mindful, and just make sure that what you consider normal is not actually toxic. So some of the things, for example, that can come off as normal, or you grew up in it, and don't realize how toxic it is. One for me was definitely cussing. I remember when I was young, my stepdad would tell my mom, don't call them out their name. They're not a B, they're not an H, and don't call them out their name. And to this day, I respect that about him, because what it did is, when as I got older, no man could call me out my name, Because why? I knew from young that that was not acceptable. It wasn't acceptable in my household. It wasn't acceptable from my mom. So it's definitely not going to be acceptable from somebody off the street. So, cussing and being talked to a certain type of way can very much be toxic. But because you grow up in it, you begin to accept it. So in a different situation where my mom did call us out our name and talk to us any kind of way and belittled us and so on and so forth. Of course, when I get in a relationship and the person do that, I will see absolutely nothing wrong with it because again, that would be normalize. So just be careful with that. Of course, every form of abuse. So if you talk about physical abuse, if all you see is physical abuse going up, you are going to believe that's a form of love. You are going to believe that that is something normal, and it's absolutely not. It is very toxic. And before it even get physical, there's other form of abuse of abuse, like verbal abuse, right? Verbal abuse is usually the start. Again, cussing you out, belittling you, talking to you any kind of way, making you believe nobody wants you, you ugly, and you this and you that, and just negative words and killing your spirit, killing your self esteem, so on and so forth. That's usually how it starts before it get to the physical abuse. That person tear you down, and then of course that just make room and open door for physical to be another thing because at the in the same manner that they tearing you down, it's changing how they view you. So the minute they tear you down to the dog, they start treating you like a dog. And what you do, dogs, you kick dogs and you beat them with papers and all of this type of stuff. So again, it start with the verbal, it end up obviously being a mental type of abuse, and it can always lead to physical abuse. But those things are not normal, so be mindful of that. One additional abuse I want to include that people do not think about or consider is financial abuse. Financial abuse is real. I've seen it in relationships, I've seen it in marriages, I've seen it with your leaders, right? I've seen it with parents, right? Siblings, so on and so forth. If a person abuse you financially, they either using money to get you to do what they want you to do as a form of security. So for instance, that whole mentality of if you living in my house, you're gonna obey by my rules. Now don't get me wrong, as a child, that's facts. If you living in somebody else, you need to obey by their rules. But that's just an example of a person financially abusing you. Well, if you in a relationship or you marry and the person know that they're taking care of the household, they bringing home the money, and then they use that as leverage to abuse you by making you do what they want to do, by restricting things from you, and so on and so forth. Another form of financial abuse is if a person using you, right? If you are a person that they can depend on, they can call on, they can borrow from, they can ask for stuff, and they just abuse you by using you, and using your finances. So they always need some. They always asking for something. They make you feel like you gotta do it every time. Like, I ain't my light bill gonna be off, and they telling sob stories and all this stuff, and you find yourself going out the way financially for them. That is financial abuse. And or those stipends. Like, I feel like as parents, we can do that with our kids, right? By buying them stuff. I always say I am a person, I do not reward bad behavior. My nephews know that, my siblings know that, shoot, my mama know that. Anybody who know me know that. If you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you will not reap no reward from me. And so you can't do that to your kids where you just like, oh, in order to get them to do what they need to do, I'm gonna buy them this. I'm gonna make sure my child have this, and that, and they, in return, they gonna be good and they gonna do this. No, you don't have to do all that. That's a form of financial abuse, and that is very toxic, in your relationships. So those are just the things that I want to touch on. And I hope that these things help. And of course, if there's other things that you think of, you can always leave it in the comment section. You can always email us. The email is below to give me suggestions on topics you would like to discuss. Also, you can email and give me testimonials, right? And you can always email to just again respond to the video, anything you took from it, anything you would like to add to it, so on and so forth. All right. So I thank y'all for your time, and I'm gonna see you next time. Love ya.